All right, it's Sunday night. Or Monday morning, depending on how long it takes me to edit this. Regardless, we have a new episode of House of the Dragon, and that is the fantasy series that keeps me coming back for more every week. It's been 3 years since the previous episode. King Viserys now has a new son named Aegon Targaryen. For the past couple years, Rhaenyra Targaryen's been, pissed. So she's like, my dad named me the heir, but I'm pretty sure when he has a son, that'll go away. And everyone's like, Rhaenyra, you're of age now. You need to get married. She's like, I don't want to get married. And her father, the king's like, it's tradition. You need to get married. I want to know that you're taken care of. And she's like, I don't like the other suitors. I like this lowborn dude. And you ever seen the movie Aladdin? Right, her love story in this show is pretty much Jasmine's story in Aladdin. This time jump was intense, man. It wasn't the few months between the first and second episode. 3 years. Damon Targaryen's been fighting a bad case of Crabfeeder for 3 years, and we haven't really seen any of it. Kind of makes the Crabfeeder guy feel like he's there to give Daemon Targaryen something to do. Because he's here and then he's done, he's gone, and well, that's that. Also, none of that's nearly as interesting as Otto Hightower's scheming, the father-daughter dynamic. This king feeling emotionally torn between his duty and his daughter, and he definitely does feel like he's being worn down to the emotional nub. But it is always pretty boss seeing dragons burn people up, and that one dragon stepped on that dude's like, yeah, save us all. I was like, you're gonna die in 3, 2, on cue. We see a Lannister in 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. Lannisters show us that Lannisters are just always Lannisters. He's all like, here, your grace, here's this really gaudy spear I made for you. Just in case you want to kill the stag with it. It'd be awesome. We have no Instagram, but I can take mental pictures. Oh, looked awesome. What I like most about this episode is King Viserys. You're like, is he not naming his new son, young Aegon, his new heir? It's the whole thing Rhaenyra's been stewing about for a couple years, and you're like, he doesn't look like he's going to. Then he has that straight up conversation with her. He's like, I'm not gonna do that, dude. Like, you've been assuming all this time? I give her a pass. She's young. Why didn't this dude come to her and be like, why are you broody for the past couple years? Oh, you think I'm gonna... No, I'm not going to. Communication, the key to diffusing most tension. Cheers to wasted father-daughter time in the land of Westeros, where the average lifespan is 19. That might be gracious. The average might actually be closer to 10. You know what I do like about King Viserys, though, is he's the peek behind the curtain. You usually see kings and royalty and people in his position in stories and shows, movies like this, but you see their actions and what they do and these policies, and you're like, oh, what a dick. I like the moments like when he was in front of the bonfire, he's all shit-faced, spilling his guts. I like moments like that with him, where you can see the peek behind the curtain of this person behind the policies that he's throwing out there, behind the traditions, and how he feels torn about all of it. This really shows how this guy feels torn between his duty to his country and his loyalty to his daughter. The last rush of Daemon Targaryen, that was intense, because this is a story, it being Westeros and me never reading the books. I mean, there are characters I'm like, I don't know, they could die tomorrow, they could live forever. I don't know. So when Daemon Targaryen was running, he was making that rush to kill that case of Crabfeeder that's plagued him for 3 years. I was like, he might die, which was a pretty boss scene. King Viserys was like, hey, you're my brother. I care. I know you've been itching something really fierce over there, but I'm going to send a fleet to help you cure that case of Crabfeeder you've had for the past 3 years. Over my dead dick, and just goes running into battle. Gets 3 arrows, not quite the Boromir, but he takes some damage. Dude did not want his brother's help. New dragon came out of nowhere and saved his ass, though. But then he just runs into a cave, and you see someone carrying something. You're like, oh, it's half the Crabfeeder's body. So he's dead now. I would have liked to have seen the carnage, the evisceration, the fatality. It's the Mortal Kombat fan in me. Give me the blood. Give me the slaughter. So at the end of last week's episode, I did what I usually don't do, which is watch the whole next week on House of the Dragon thing at the end. I didn't watch it this week, so the time jump might be 2 days. It might be 27 years. I wouldn't know. But the time jumps are a bit intense in this show. It really does give a kind of a disjointed feeling. I get it. They're trying to cover a lot of ground really quickly. I gotta say, King Viserys is a far more complex character than I thought he was going to be after the pilot episode. And I feel like this episode just upped the complexity for him and his relationship with Rhaenyra. All right, so House of the Dragon episode 3. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.